Hey everybody, it's Grateful Futures here. Today we're going to do a quick video, and this is going to be the first of these videos on pre-market analysis and long-term analysis if you guys are swing traders. But I did want to do a quick video just to show you guys how I prepare for a day trading the indices. In this case, usually, I'm on SPY, but this is applicable to really any major indice, whether you like to trade NASDAQ or Russell. This is how you should approach it from a volume-based perspective. So just to break down my 15-minute chart, if you haven't watched the chart video on the left side of my screen, this is a long-term anchored volume profile that is anchored back way back from when this huge uptrend started around March. This is basically all of the volume since then compiled into a volume profile on the left side of my screen. So that is the main thing that I'm going to be looking at when I am doing my pre-market analysis. Basically, the first thing you have to do is take note of what volume peak that you are currently in. So you can see from yesterday or over the weekend, we dropped pretty heavily gap down from we were previously in this volume peak up here, and now we dropped all the way down and we're actually in this volume peak right here. So a couple things, just kind of take note of what volume peak we're in, and then I mark off all of the low volume nodes. So that's these orange boxes you see here. This is a high volume node and it comes down to its low volume node. And I do the same thing for up here. This is the low volume node on the higher end of this peak, and it comes down, it's kind of like a shoulder, comes down to this low volume node here, which is really the barrier between this high volume area and this low volume area, separating us from the previous high volume area we were in last week. So that's the first thing I do, mark off all of these low volume nodes. These are going to act as traditional support and resistance. And when we are getting to the close of the top of one of these peaks, that's when we're going to look for short opportunities, assuming the volume is going to support staying in the high volume area. And if we get to the bottom, that's where we're going to look for long opportunities, assuming the volume is going to support staying within this high volume area. Now, the other thing I do like to take note of is the points of control. Remember, that is the highest volume area. So there's two that I want to consider. The long-term high volume nodes, the point of controls. So I do usually mark these off as like an orange dotted line. That's what this one is right here. And then since this is kind of like a double peak, we could also consider that as a kind of another point of control for this other portion of this high volume area. So that is what I like to do considering the long-term high volume nodes. Now, I also like to consider the session points of controls because these are called naked points of control. It's basically, for example, yesterday's session, we dropped and then ranged down here, giving us this point of control for the session. That ends up being a target that, usually you see price retrace to that and confirming this zone before moving the other way, or same thing, vice versa. It could come down, touch one of these zones and go back up. So I mark off all of these that we haven't yet touched in session trading. So that would be this one, and there is actually one down here too, this one from right here from this day session where we gapped up and we just kind of never got to it. That's really what I'm marking off, looking for targets potentially throughout the day. So now let's get on to the actual pre-market plan. Since we're in this peak right here, as of that's 8:45 a.m., we're gonna assume that volume is going to want to support staying in this higher volume area. And if you guys need a refresher on, volume profile, go ahead and check out my basics video. But what we can say is that if trading were to, come up, let's say to here, this low volume node, there's going to be volume that's going to support pushing it back down towards the point of control. So that is one possibility of what could happen. Now, let's say this one breaks and we move to the next low volume node, which is really the major divider between this peak and this major peak here, then even more so we can assume that that selling is going to come in to try to push it down towards this point of control or the high volume area. Now we could say the other way too. If it goes down to this low volume node, we can assume buying is going to come in to support price to stay inside the high volume node. You always want to assume that price is going to travel towards liquidity. Now, that's pretty much my pre-market plan. It technically, if it does break through here, this is a possibility as well. But let's start with the ones that are, closest to the current price. So let's just go ahead and kind of remember that we want to, look for weakness around 638.34 as well as 639.93 to go ahead and short. And if you guys want to, sometimes I do this as well. I will go ahead and mark off, since this is going to be our main one here, to the main low volume node to keep us within this peak. I'm going to go ahead and mark this off with a red box just to give me, a kind of a range that I can say, okay, in this area, I'm going to look for short reversals. And in this area, I'm going to go ahead and look for long reversals. Okay, and you guys can just play off those. Obviously there might be some trading in between there, but if price gets to one of these low volume nodes, makes a higher low, starts to get bullish structure, that's going to be our preferred trade to go up, targeting this point of control, or this point of control is a first target. And then if price gets up here to this low volume node and we see lower highs, then we're going to feel pretty comfortable about shorting down to maybe this low volume node as a target, this one, and then ultimately down here. And this would be your last, target. That would be quite a big move. So let's go ahead and go to a shorter time frame and actually see how this plays out. This is our 1 minute chart here. So we still have our zones, and let's let's go ahead and bring those to where we can see the text on the 1 minute chart. No, I still can't see it. It's okay. Not a big deal. So you just, keep in mind that that red is going to be our short reversal and the green is going to be our long reversal. So, and keep in mind also, you don't really, you're not loving to trade around these dots just because those are our long-term points of control. And remember, price is the most choppy around those. It's the highest competition between buyers and sellers. So wait for price to get away from there and then see if one of these plays sets up. Let's see what happened. So immediately we get some bearish action pushing down. Price pulls back to the point of control. And we get a higher low. Remember, as we're doing this, we're always taking our volume profiles, pulling them out, seeing if we can see any point of control support. I'm just going to let that, every time I do a video, it takes forever for the volume profile to pan out. So I might not, just wait on that today. I just wanted to show you guys how to do the overnight analysis. But if we keep playing the tape, you even see you get a tap right up there off of our low volume node. It goes up, starts to feel some resistance in our short reversal area. Price pushes all the way up really quickly. I think we actually had some data come out at 10 a.m. today, so that was a reason for that big spike up. Taps right off of our low volume node at the short reversal zone. And we get a little bit of a lower high. And if you guys want to, as soon as you see this, you could, technically enter, just keep your stop loss above there. But I wanted to see what kind of support was at this low volume node. It does bounce up a little bit. And that's our official lower high in the bearish reversal area. This was my first trade of the day. I took a short position right here. My stop loss was above the recent high, and I was targeting the point of control right there from that first peak that we were looking at as a target. And let's just see how this panned out. So a little bit of drawdown, but we make a huge push down towards VWAP. VWAP breaks. We hit our profit target at the point of control, and we can just leave our runner in here, knowing that it's a potential that this comes all the way down to the bullish area down here, the bullish reversal zone. And look at that. And on the way down, I really hope that I can do this on the video because you're going to see something really cool that each one of these pushes, if I take my volume profile just of this part right here, you'll actually see that the point of control for this downtrend right here was right here. So these push-ups were literally just testing these point of control zones from the downtrend. Same thing for here. If you took this one from here to here, the point of control would be right here. So it's literally just confirming that this is still in a pretty strong downtrend, and we get all the way down to our bottom point of control, which remember is also a naked point of control. We were looking to see if that was going to be tested, but that right there is a massive win. It ended up being on the runner over 1 to 4 risk reward. So that's what I wanted to show you guys, and then just to kind of show you how awesome these zones are for the pre-market analysis. When we get down close to the bull reversal zone, we tap right off of it, and now if you want, you can look for higher lows to enter long. And that is exactly what happens. We get a really nice bottom reversal trade off of that low volume node on the bottom. So always want to go long at the bottom of high volume areas, and always want to look for short setups at the top of those high volume areas. And that is how you're going to give yourself the highest probability for winning trades. So that is what I wanted to show you guys. If you guys have questions, I'd love to see you guys in my Discord. The link should be in the description below. If you guys have questions, let me know. But go out there, see if you can see some of this stuff on your chart. Happy trading, and don't forget, it's Greatful Futures Trading University. We'd love to see you guys out there. Be easy.